Hey, how you doing? Justin here. Today we are checking out Midnight by Joe Satriani off the incredible Surfing with the Alien album. I still remember hearing this track for the first time and having absolutely no idea what was going on, how he could possibly be making those sounds. I bought the transcription book, which was the thing that we did back in the day before the internet. I was trying to learn some of the other tunes, but actually the tab still was just like, I understand, what does that mean? It didn't make any sense to me. And then I saw a guy playing it, not particularly well, in a music store, but I was like, it's the two hands together. This is it's an 8-finger tapping, two-handed tapping. So we're using mostly two hands with this, two hands with this hand, 2 fingers with this hand, and 2 fingers with this hand. And actually, when I started trying to play through, it was like, actually, you know what? This isn't as bad as you'd think. So I'm not saying it's easy, but it's probably easier than you might think if you're just looking at someone doing it, being like, wow, he's doing these, this fancy thing. And it is a little bit tricky. It takes a little bit of practice, but a little bit of slow, patient practice on a few little sections, and you'll probably find that it comes together a bit sooner than you'd think. There are kind of 3 main things. The main theme, the initial theme, which is a very specific pattern. Then the whole middle section, let's call it, where there's a kind of a complicated rhythm. The putting the notes down isn't too hard, but the rhythm between the 2 hands can be a little bit sticky. And then there's the last section, which involves a little bit more movement, one of those sections where you need to do a little bit more slow and careful practice. So we're going to take it through just a little chunk by chunk, make sure we get the technique right. The one thing that you really are going to need is something to cover the strings behind where you're tapping. So I don't think we go lower than the 7th fret. Now this is a designed thing, like a neck mute. For the longest time, I just used a sock. I just wrapped a sock around the neck of the guitar, and that'll do fine as well. You definitely don't need to buy anything fancy like this to be able to do the tune, but you do need to mute behind the string, so you want to check that out. I'm using the quad cortex thing, a little bit of compression and some reverb. A bit of compression really can help kind of bring all of the notes nice and clear, and the reverb just kind of puts the song in a particular space there. So I think that can be helpful to practice with that on as well. So let's get to a close-up and check it out. Just slow this down and explain what's going on. So the first kind of chord, first finger is hammering down on the 7th fret of the thicker string, 3rd finger is hammering down on the 9th fret of the 5th string, and then 2nd finger, the driving finger, is hammering down the 12th fret on the 2nd string, and then 1st fingering is hammering down on the 12th fret of the 4th string, and we got this little 16th note pattern. So 1 E and a 2 E and a. You don't want to try and hold all of the notes down so it holds every time, because you need that little time to get a good hit there with the 1st finger. So if you just press, well, you can kind of get a note, but I always feel like it needs a little bit of a thwack there with the 1st finger. Well, all of the fingers really. So before you go any further in the song, I'd recommend that you get just that one little bit down there. Get used to the pattern of the 1st finger, 3rd finger, 2nd finger, 1st finger. If you can't get that right, there's no chance that you're going to be able to start moving it around. You want to get that rhythm nice and even. Da, 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 da. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. So really, a little bit of time on that before you go any further would be a really good idea. Once you feel confident with it, you're going to move from here. Now notice now that while I'm playing these 2 notes, that this hand is getting ready play the next section. So now 1st finger is in the 10th fret of the 5th string, 2nd finger is going down on the 11th fret of the 4th string, and then we've got the 14th fret on the 2nd string with the 3rd finger, and 14th fret on the 4th string with the 1st finger, and back. And you can see again Here now, while those two are playing, the left hand is moving back. Now the second time round, it's the right hand just moves from strings 2 and 4 to 1 and 3. Back to the first chord. Everything down a string. Okay, so literally this. So now 7th fret, 9th fret on strings 5 and 4, 12th fret on the thinner string and the 3rd string. Okay, now we've got this little, I guess I'd call it an F sharp 7, sus 4 sharp 5 or something. I don't know, it could have a few different names depending on how you look at it. It's the 7th fret on the 7th fret on the 5th string and the 3rd string, so the 1st and 2nd fingers are now at an angle, and these are both in the 12th fret again, and then dropping a semitone, 1 fret. Let's just do that first section again now, nice and slow. Second chord, back, same chord but onto the thinner strings, back, everything down a string, F sharp 7, second time through, essentially the same except here. Okay, so instead of having that bit when, now we're going to start here on the 14th fret on strings 1 and 3, and then it drops back. So that can be a little bit of a crampy thing if your finger's in the way. Okay, so just drop that back. The rest is the same. Now, with all of these things, you want to take it nice and slow. There's no point in trying to rush through and learning to play it badly. You want to make sure that you keep your timing real solid. Because if you learn it with the wonky timing slowly, as you start to speed it up, it's just going to get worse. So really concentrate on getting this 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. Make sure that you keep it really even, especially between the transition. So as you're moving from one chord to the other chord, you want to do it slow enough that you can actually make the move from one chord to the next chord. Will be a little bit tricky, but that is the key thing that's going to make it work well for you. Just play that little bit. The tricky part with this section is the rhythm between the two hands. It's not the notes. The notes are not super easy, but it's really the rhythm there that's going to take a little bit of work. So let me explain what's going on here. So left hand is playing an octave. So 8th fret on the thicker string, 3rd finger playing 9th fret on the D string. 1st and 2nd fingers are both playing in the 12th fret on strings 1 and 3. But that's the rhythm, that's the key thing. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a... The hands are still alternating between left and right. But it's that rhythm. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. Again, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a... It's a little bit tricky. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a... Because we end up with that kind of the beat 2 with the right hand. Kind of feels a little bit weird. Just practice. It's doing it nice and slowly and carefully. You've really got to get that right. If it gets kind of wobbly with the rhythm, when you speed it up, it's just going to kind of sound odd. It really does drive along. Once you've got that hammering motion and you've got it under your fingers, it actually feels quite natural to do it. It just takes slow and careful practice. There's no secret to it. If you want to be able to play that section, just do it nice and slow. Count along. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a... And just do it over and over again. Probably not a bad idea to do it with a metronome as well. Okay, I've always done it just with a very slow count, but really deliberately thinking da 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 da. It doesn't really matter if you're going to go 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a... You can count that if you want, but just even remember do da 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 do da 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 is probably enough. If you know, depends on what way you find it easiest to learn. So, bit of practice time on that first, then we're into it. So we start with this one. Then first and second fingers drop back. Back to the 12th fret. Back to the 11th fret. Now, something very useful to note at this point is that when Joe plays this live, he leaves a little pause there to help the transition of the chords. Now, that doesn't appear to be there on the original recording. I did practice it for the longest time without the gap, and it's definitely possible to do that. But having a little pause between the chord transition makes the whole thing a lot smoother. What I found is when I was trying to jump from one chord to the next chord, it always felt a little bit rushed and a little bit wobbly. And I saw a couple of clips of Joe playing it and like, oh, he's put that pause in there. And as soon as I added that in, it just made the whole thing feel more musical and more relaxed and less of a panic. So that's the way I play it right now. But do note that on the original recording, if you listen to it, the transition, so... this is all the same. There's no gap, it just jumps straight to the next chord. But the way Joe tends to play it live, this is all the same. There's just that little, instead of going, that last two notes are cut off. And that gives you that little break to move to the next chord. I really think it's valuable, and it's when I saw Joe doing it the first time, it was just like, wow, even Joe Satriani is not trying to do it exactly like the record, but I don't think it's because he can't, it's because it makes it more musical when you don't have that panic on. On a record, it's different. When you're actually performing something live, especially in front of people, and there's adrenaline and lights and all of these other things going on, I think that it's definitely worth putting that pause in. So, the octave here, 7 and 9, and then 12th fret. 11th fret. 12th. 11th. Pause. Now, first finger is going to move up to the 10th fret. Third finger will, match up still an octave, playing on the 12th fret of the 4th string. And first and second fingers will now be on the 15th fret. Same pattern. Still with the little pause. Now first finger goes up 2 frets, so we're now in the 12th fret, 14th fret, and first and second fingers are now in the 17th fret, but slightly different here. sorry, this is now second finger is playing the 15th fret and first finger plays the 16th fret, so they're at an angle, they're split now. That's a little bit tricky. What I definitely find is using my thumb on the side of the neck is really helpful there. For the longest time I just floated, and I used to move my whole hand, but lately I've been using my thumb on the edge there. Same pattern still. Up another 2. So now first finger is in the 14th fret, third finger is in the 16th fret, still that octave shape. First and second fingers are going from, what's that, the 19th fret, 21st fret, down to the 18th fret, 15th to 18th fret. Jeez, I have to think about that. Again, let me play through that whole section with the gap so you can see how it's all fitting together. Okay, so that, again, that's one section I would recommend that you spend a bit of time practicing on. It's got that same pattern there, nice easy octaves with the left hand, and then a little bit of movement with the right hand. Just that one kind of awkward split there. Next section. Okay, so now we've got very much like a G major 7th chord here. First finger in the 10th fret of the 5th string, second finger 11th fret on the 3rd string, first and second fingers in the 12th fret on strings 2 and 4. Then these move up a tone, up to 15 and 16, the split thing, up to the 17th fret. Okay, so now we're jumping to an F sharp 7. This is probably the most complicated bit to remember. It's where my memory sometimes goes a little bit loose, but they're both in the 7th fret on strings 5 and 3. First and second fingers both in the 11th fret on strings 2 and 4. Now this is, I think, is the hardest thing for me, is going from this. Second finger stays there, but first finger moves over to the note C, the 8th fret of the thicker string, while fingers 1 and 2 move up a fret. So F sharp, down to the C, back to the F sharp. Now first, left hand moves back a tone, and right hand moves up 1 fret. So we're going from here, out, back to the F sharp, then up to G, major 7, back to this kind of F sharp 7, sus 4, sharp 5, I don't know what to call this chord. Back to F sharp 7. It's quite a bit to remember, this one. Let me see if I can remember it. So this is the second section from the G major 7. Climb, split, climb, F sharp 7, C bass, F sharp 7, split, F sharp 7, G, F sharp 7, sharp. That is by far at least in my mind, the hardest part to remember, the section-wise. It's very musical and beautiful. It just seems, I don't know, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm, not the sharpest knife in the drawer and trying to remember the sequence of the chords. Sometimes a little bit tricky. I tend to rely on my musical memory of what it should sound like to guide me rather than thinking about it, which might not always be the best idea. Although, when you watch Joe Satriani play it for real, when he's just jamming it, he often moves away and does little improvised things as well. Something that I would definitely encourage you to explore a little bit on your own. Once you can play it properly, just seeing like what happens if you're a bit loose with it and add a little bit in or try a different section here and there. I think that's a way of kind of making it a little bit your own while still, paying credence to the original tune. But that does lead us to the next section, which is by far the hardest, I think. Like you need to have both of these previous sections down first before you start on the last part, I would suggest. So truly that first chord, 7th fret, 9th fret, 12th, 12th, just does it once though. Then you jump into 10th fret, 11th fret, 14, 14. Then this chord, which is 7, 9, 12, 12, but all down a string compared to the first chord. Then you to your F sharp 7. Then it does that again. Now I can't remember it. Yeah, so it's from F sharp, splits, and then to the second chord and back to the first one. Such a lovely progression. Now I'm thinking about it, I can't do it. It can get a little bit fluffy there, and that's kind of okay. The very last part, 8th fret on the thicker string, 7th fret on the 4th string, 12th fret on strings 1 and 3 with fingers 1 and 2. Sorry, that. Then we're back to the octave shape on the B, so 7th fret, 9th fret, 11, 11. Back up, 8, 9, 15, 12, back to 11 for the end. So the very end of the tune. It really is such an amazing tune. It is a bit of a game of patience here. You've got to work on the sections and get them accurate first. If you try and rush through, it's probably not going to work out. So especially like the rhythm of the second section, I think is really key. Just spending a bit of time going do da do da do ga do da do da do ga do. You could even practice it like this if you want. Do da do ga do da da ga do da da. Really, that's one of the key things. I think it's probably the hardest part, at least in my remembering of learning this, which was rather a long time ago, more than 35 years ago, probably it was. So I learned this the first time. So it was a while ago, but I remember that section being real hard. So that's probably going to be the one that takes the most time. The rest of it is just like doing it nice and slowly and carefully, making sure that you use your sock or your mute to make sure that the strings are kept clear. Really trying to get a good thwack of the notes in order to try and get a nice clear note each time. Being a little bit aware of where the notes, if any notes are getting choked or muted by the other hand or by fingers that shouldn't be where they are. So just paying a bit of attention to that to make sure all the notes are nice and clear. using your thumb, just resting on the top of the fretboard there, top of the neck rather, just to be able to help you kind of get a good thwack with those fingers. Learning this song really is about patience, playing it really slowly, getting it right, and then gradually speeding the tempo up until you can get it to the recorded version, and trying to have a little bit of fun with it. I definitely did a lot of experimenting and trying to write my own songs with this style. Once you kind of have a think about what notes you're playing and you could play, common chord shapes and things like that. It's quite interesting. Experimenting with the rhythm the way that he does in the B section is something that's pretty funky as well. You might want to check that out. I'm sure you're going to have a lot of fun with it, and do remember, if you're into your rock guitar, you might want to head on over to justinguitar.com/rock. We have an awesome new rock guitar course in the works right now. It might be out by the time you see this, but you might want to head over there and check that out. Have yourself an absolutely fantastic day, and I really hope you enjoy playing this piece. I'll see you for plenty more very soon. You take care. Bye-bye.